I was building on a lecture.
Mallory's a local girl in London. She comes from Windsor, and so she paddles in London fairly regularly, so she's used to the big water.
One shot for the kill, the breeze cut, freeze up, straight dropping the chills. I'm talking.
Look at the determination. You wouldn't want to get in their way, would you?
Sky high, check the movement is here, yeah.
Oh, again, Mallory's nailed that move, 17-18. She is flying. All these other girls now are going to know that Mallory has smashed that time from the semi-final.
There's so much you don't know about people that I feel like it's hard to like just pick like one element of who they are and be like, that's inspiring. But I think some of the things like Helen Reeves, who's won a bronze medal in Athens, and like I knew her, she was brought up near my club, and I knew her when I was younger and went on a talent orientation camp where she was on it as well, and kind of had a relationship with her, and kind of realising that she's human was probably actually one of the weirdest things that I kind of really experienced, of like that understanding that these people are human. And I think that more meant that I was kind of just appreciated the fact that like everyone has their own stories and like everyone is their own person. And I think that kind of just pushed me more into just trying to be inspired by who I could be and trying to keep stepping that forwards. And
as Helen Reeves starts her final run of this Olympic competition, she had the second fastest time overall yesterday in qualifying, behind Bongart of Germany, so she knows how to paddle this course quickly.
The start line at the Games is full of some very, very good paddlers, and the competition level and the standard of that class will actually be very good, and it'll be worthy of being at the Games. Kind of when I talk to the other girls that like had that opportunity and how they viewed it, it kind of hits me that I do kind of like understand that, and I understand that it's like it is an achievement in its own right, and to be on the forefront of that and be like the first British C1 woman to compete at the Games is like kind of crazy, but it just feels kind of normal as well, so it's not really fully in my head yet. For me, like, because I had kayak and I always had that goal of going to the Games in kayak, C1 getting added didn't suddenly like spark up this thing that I never had as a goal, but I think having that opportunity to go in C1 and the class that I have had the most success in is like, I don't think it's really hit me yet that actually like that means that it's actually possible that I could get a medal out of it, and that's the level that I'm at. I think a lot of it for me is just trying to like constantly be better myself, and therefore try and not get lost in that element.
This lady, Mallory Franklin, stony-faced now for Great Britain, 26 years of age, from Windsor in Berkshire, and 2017 world champion.
Get a good upstream on the 3. She will start the game number 4, 5. She did a spin, still looking good.
At the World Championships in Rio, she took the individual silver just in behind Jess Fox, who she targets now. That was 3 years ago in Brazil. And she's not a million miles away. No, 1.5 seconds only here, the disadvantage. She is catching time here. 0.93, less than a second now, the disadvantage.
Which is really good. Elevating difficulties
yeah,
on the
awkward line to 18. Just lost the ideal line there.
Yeah, she was too much up. I mean, unfortunately, missed a bit of time.
And it's a real shame because she was gaining on Jess Fox, and it's just been thrown away, sadly, I think, with that error at 18. I think it can't be recovered.
Yeah, no, it can't be, but we will see on the final...
yeah, the podium.
Will be enough.
Oh, just off the podium.
Oh, yeah. 4th place for Mallory Franklin.
Yeah, and that 2-second penalty does cost her the 3rd position up on the podium. That mistake, just the wrong line.
Paddle, and I just love seeing what she can do, because I know that she's got this potential that she can be so good.
Yeah.
I just get nervous watching her because she does go so fast, even in the semi when she didn't really need to today. She went so hard.
Yeah. Let's see.
But we'll watch this time now. It'll be something really electric. Look at her.
Nice.
She's really going for
Really
it today.
focused. Oh, nice. Really nice.
Yep, good so far. Look at that.
Really good.
Great top of the course.
Oh, she missed it.
Oh no, she's going to go back
No
for it.
way.
This is what I mean, Marta.
No way.
Yep, this is what I mean. Ah.
No way. Oh. No.
Yeah, it was a big miss too. Well spotted. The camera angle I wasn't sure, but you spotted it straight away. But oh yeah.
But wow, crazy.
I think her look will say it all.
Yeah. 2 seconds.
Does it matter? She was thinking, what does it matter? Disappointing. I've not seen anybody go close to missing gate 7. I don't know what she would have done. Did she just get the wrong? Oh yeah. Did she just get the wrong line or?
I didn't.
After so long not racing, it was really, I guess quite scary to get back on the start line. But I think I was kind of nervous to how that panned out. But I think that you kind of don't know until you get there, until you experience those feelings again. And it was really cool to be back in that environment, and definitely something that I've missed. And I think that kind of reminded me of that element of slalom and trying to like put everything together in that moment and put yourself in a position where you feel like you can perform and get yourself in the right headspace. Was reasonably pleased with how I performed. I think that there was some really good racing, especially in the early rounds of my competitions. Didn't necessarily always put it together in the final, but I felt like I was in a good place. I learnt loads from the Europeans and was able to apply that into the World Cups and put myself in a position on the start line where I felt relaxed and that I could just perform, and that I knew like the context of it, and I had that drive, but also the self-focus and focusing on my strengths to allow me to just feel free in that moment. Generally dealing with the pressure of people like expecting things from you, I think it's kind of an unnecessary thing, and I think reminding yourself that you can't change other people's perceptions, you can't even change whether or not they think you've achieved what they wanted you to achieve or not. It comes down a lot more to like whether or not you can turn around after the race and be proud of how you were. And I think for me, that matters a lot more than anything else. And I think having that perspective to kind of pre the race look as if you were post the race back, then that kind of allows you to have the understanding that none of anyone else's opinions matter. I think there are lots of disappointments in any athlete's career. I think it's hard for me right now to like list off them, because I think that the aim is always to grow from them, and therefore you almost like then don't see them as a disappointment anymore. Like the most recent one for me is my kayak Olympic selection, where I just fell apart in my semi-final run and just did terribly from it. And I mean, I've learned so much about myself mentally from that it even now is starting to feel less like a disappointment and almost more of like just something that has allowed me to learn so much more. I know there's been plenty of races where I've just finished it in tears and just like ended up just sat and my coach having to come find me wherever the hell I am, just crying my eyes out somewhere. They're kind of necessary to then understand and be able to grow and have the results that then you get off the back of them. So my only real pressure is from myself, and therefore I have an ability to like deal with that and channel that into something else. And I think for me, I'm just trying to move that more into the kind of trying to be in that moment and try and enjoy that moment, and that comes from having a solid grounding in who I am, what I want to be and what I want to portray. To win the games is more of like a statement of your like mental ability to focus on yourself and perform to your ability and keep that consistency, rather than that you're an amazing paddler necessarily. And I think that for me, that being able to achieve that result would be more of like a statement of where I've come from and what I'm able to get myself focused in on when it matters. I think the opportunity to be Britain's first gold or silver medalist in canoe slalom is kind of a bit crazy. I think like I'd never really thought about it much. I haven't paid a huge amount to like the history pre me being involved in canoe slalom, and I think kind of therefore it's just something that just gets thrown out at me, and I'm just like, okay, fine. But like I think that opportunity to be that and to be remembered in that way would be kind of amazing.